All right, this is going to be AP Calculus, Unit 3-7. We are talking about analytic analysis again. This time we're talking about the relative extremum of a function, the minimum and the maximum of a function. So yesterday we already did critical values, increasing and decreasing. So where are we in the unit guide? So in the unit guide, we are on 3-7 over here. And yeah, analytic analysis. So we have the setup for the notes down. And I'm just going to go through 2 example problems, and then we'll end the notes. So, example problem number 1. I have f of x, and this is equal to the natural log of 3x squared. What do you think I need to do? I'm still using the f prime test here, by the way.
The derivative.
Take the derivative. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in red. So f prime of x, do that for me. What is that going to be?
1 over 3x squared.
3x squared
6x.
times 6x. You're correct. Doubter times dinner. And that can be simplified into, obviously, 6x over 3x squared.
Or have a 2 over x.
Or 2 over x. Perfect. All right, so this wasn't in our notes yesterday, so I want to add it into our notes today. We need to talk about, well, we're always doing the same process, finding CVs. This is so far a review, but I didn't put this in the notes, so I'm going to do it now. So when I'm checking for CVs, maybe I should write that first. So we're finding CVs now. Find critical values. What are the 2 things that can give us a critical value?
0 or DNE.
For
F prime of.
Exactly, yeah. F prime equals 0 or F prime DNE. Where F prime is equal to 0, this is very specific. This is the numerator. I'm just going to write num, but this is numerator. Maybe I should just write it out. Numerator. Whenever I have a fraction, numerator, set that equal to 0. For F prime DNE, and this is always whenever I have a fraction, so maybe I can write that on the notes over here. So this is fractions. Where F prime DNE, where it does not exist, set the denominator.
So on that one,
Equal to 0.
like, what does that mean though? Like, you just set the denominator, but it's DNE, so like, you don't really get a number, right? Like,
So when we solve, we'll find x equals something. So at that value of x, f prime does not exist.
oh, okay, that makes sense.
So when I set the numerator equals 0, obviously 2, you'll get 2 equals 0, which doesn't make sense. 2 equals 0. What that implies is that we can't ever get f prime equals 0. So we don't worry about it. So this implies f prime cannot ever equal 0. Okay, now let's set the denominator equal to 0. If I do that, it's just simply x equals 0, and there's our 1 critical value.
So the numerator was a DNE.
Wait, what?
No. Well, like, because 2 can't equal 0, then it's DNE.
That's not a DNE, that just means it can't happen.
Impossible.
DNE doesn't mean,
Like, f prime never equals 0.
yeah, it just means f prime doesn't equal 0. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. This over here means it doesn't exist. We're looking at where f prime doesn't exist.
Oh my god, you said that so many. I like a breather. Like,
So it's the same step as before. We need to draw our x-axis. So go ahead and do that. Draw your x-axis. And again, we're going to label our critical value. So there's our CV. We label critical value. Critical values are always our tick marks, and that was at what point? Where?
0.
0. All right. Now we need to plug in some points to the right and the left, just like we were doing before. All right, what are some good values to try out?
1
1
and negative 1.
and negative 1. All right, when I plug those into my f prime, I get a what and a what? When I do a negative 1, I get a negative or a positive?
Negative.
I get a negative. When I plug in 1, I get a
Positive.
positive. This is all review from yesterday. So this means this interval is what? Increasing or decreasing?
Increase.
Increase
The other one's decrease.
and decrease.
You better eat some.
All right, so now I have to ask you the question. Is this a relative extrema? And before I even ask that question, let's answer another question first. What is a relative extrema? What is the definition?
X changes from positive to negative.
Where what changes?
The value of X changes from positive to negative.
You have it almost. You just need to tweak it a little bit.
F prime of X equals. Or
It's
what?
F.
Oh.
It's where f prime changes from either positive to negative or negative to positive.
Can you write it down, Mr. Sindel?
Yeah, I'll write it on the side over here. So f relative extrema.
Oh my God.
It's where f prime changes signs.
I really like that picture.
Oh my god, my pen is freaking out. Changes Changes.
You know what I mean?
signs. All right, so this is a relative extrema. And that's great, but we want to know what type of relative extrema. What are our two types of relative extrema?
Min or max?
Min or max, exactly. Is this a minimum or a maximum?
Thank you.
It goes from a negative to a positive. So is it a minimum or a maximum?
It's a minimum.
It is a minimum.
Negative to positive.
So always label this now.
Yeah.
This is just an additional step. Once I figure out it's negative to positive, now I need to label this an f min, a function minimum. It's just that one extra step. So let's make a note here. Always label these. Always label these. All right, perfect. That was our first example. We'll do another one and then we'll be done with the notes. Are we ready?
Yes.
Next slide. 3, 2, 1.
So what makes us different from yesterday is just labeling the minimum? and
Exactly.
finding if it's minimum or maximum. Oh, praise the Lord.
Yep.
Ow!
All right, so I'm gonna do kind of a gnarly one. Are we ready?
No.
Just an example.
This is an example.
Why do you hate us?
I want you to be trained with really heavy stuff. If I do weight training and I only lift these small weights when it comes to the weight competition and see how much I can lift, I'm not going to be able to lift very much. We're lifting this, we're lifting like a 50-pound weight when on the test we only need to lift like a 40-pound weight right now.
And if you're in like the small weights competition.
Okay, maybe not the test, the homework.
God, I'm just okay.
All right, so let's do this. So this is going to be f of x
I don't like this.
is equal to x squared minus 1
If Jesse heard me, Jesse would be like, I lift.
all over x minus 1.
But does lift.
No, but Angela was telling me that like she's the only one that's
All right, tell me what to do. What do I do? What do you see in here?
You could put the x minus 1 on top
Taller, like
You could put the x minus 1 on top. What do you mean?
bigger, you know, like
by raising it by a negative power.
You could do that. That will actually make it even more gnarly than we would like, actually. But we could do that. So Joy is saying we don't like the denominator. Go ahead and write this whole thing to the power of negative 1 and bring it to the numerator. We could do that. And if you want to do that, go for it.
What about
What would
high
you
D
do?
low, low D high?
Exactly. What is that called?
High D low.
Quotient.
Quotient rule.
Quotient rule.
High
Yeah.
D low.
So this guy here is
Repeating it.
quotient rule. With Joy's rule, she would have to go to product rule, and that's fine. I think it'll be a little bit harder that way. And that's going to be, as Sophia said,
Low D high
High D
Tiny low.
minus high D low.
over.
Low low.
Lolo. Perfect. All right, so let's do that. So high or low D high, that's going to be, tell me what to write.
X minus 1.
By the way, all this is f prime of x. I should be labeling that. F prime of x is now equal to x minus 1 times
2x.
2x.
minus x squared minus 1 times 1 all over.
X minus 1 squared.
For next year, Mr. Sindel, for next semester, we should do it's like car d kale minus Isa d Soph all over Joy squared.
Or Joy.
That'd be so Isn't that
cool?
That would be a funny
That
one.
would be awesome.
Super cool. And then like it would be like, well, like Mr. Sindel, like
All right.
Mr. Sindel
Equals Sindel.
Yeah.
All right,
'Cause
so
they equal your class.
let's simplify this a little bit.
Such a good
Write it down. Go.
We'll remember it. All right, so distribute this 2x into the x minus 1. Tell me what to write.
2x squared minus 2x.
And then distribute the negative.
Minus x squared plus 1
Okay, all of this is going to be over x minus 1 squared.
Wait, don't we also have a minus 1 on
But
top?
you distribute the negative.
The 1 is
Oh,
minus-
you multiply the 1. Okay.
Yeah, this negative 1 turned into a positive from the distribution of the negative. Exactly.
That was dumb.
And finally, this equals what?
X squared minus 2x.
Ew.
X squared minus
We've
2x.
had this problem.
Ah, someone did the homework.
We've had the last problem as well. Mr. Sindel.
Yes. 2x plus 1 all over
Sindel.
x minus 1 quantity squared.
This is not nice.
And I can keep going on. This is still f prime of x is equal to factor the
Good
top.
God!
X minus 1 times x minus 2 plus 2.
X plus 2.
Over x minus 1, you
Is
just
this right?
cancel.
I'm not gonna have room for my summary.
Squared.
I literally just.
Can't you cancel?
You can cancel.
Then cancel.
Spell you good, bro?
Oh, sorry. This is going to be equal
I'm very
to.
grumpy today.
I am. Like, I don't know.
Jake hasn't said anything all in class.
Ooh.
Then
Cancel.
cancel.
We have to be careful there because
I'm not a talkative person.
canceling will affect the sign change.
What?
Well, I
So-
already wrote an arrow through my cancels.
But that doesn't make sense.
Look at him, I can see.
I think we should just leave it like that.
That's just gonna bother me.
All right, but
Whoa.
the main thing to take away with these fractions is to simplify the top and don't do anything to the bottom.
Carly, you good? bro?
Wait, this is not x plus 2 on the top.
Wait, yeah, it is though, because.
It is not.
It's my-
Negative 1 times 2 is a negative 2.
Oh, I did it backwards.
Do your ninja square, kids.
I've
Yeah.
never understood the ninjas. Like,
I thought I was getting
It
it.
sounds really cool, but I just. I don't
What is it going to be?
It's X minus 1.
Yes, it is.
Whoa.
Does anyone know why this came out to 1?
Yes.
Looking at the original problem?
Because
Because it's the same thing.
yeah.
It's the same thing.
Well,
the
if you
bottom
square
and
it
the top.
out, then you just cancel it, and then there's just ones, and then yeah.
Look at f of x. What is f of x if I factor the top?
It'll just be X minus 1 squared.
Nope,
Oh
not quite.
my god.
It'll be x plus 1, x minus 1.
Wait,
It's a difference
oh,
of
yeah.
squares. All over x minus 1,
So you cancel out the x minus 1.
which would have been
And then you
x
just take the
plus 1.
derivative.
What's the derivative of x plus 1?
1.
Oh my god, why did we do
Why
that?
did we just do that?
So, every time you see this,
Why
make
did-
sure
Why you do that?
make sure that this is going to happen on the AP test to at least one of us, where we see this and we do this huge quotient rule, and you get 1 and you're like, wait a sec. And then you come back here and then you simplify it and you realize it could have been faster. So whenever you get something like this, try to factor it first and then go down. That's just my word of warning.
Oh, so you did that on purpose.
Well, we learned from it, right?
God.
All right. So go ahead and write a quick summary, and that will be the end of the lesson. We have a lot of.
I didn't really finish the problem.
Okay, I mean, if you want to finish the problem, we
Well, I
can.
guess we don't have to.
Because-
Finish it.
No, really, it's fine.
Where's our critical value?
1.
So CV at 1, and then to the right of 1, we can do 2, we can do 0. Maybe I should do those in different colors like I did on the answer key.
Oh.
I wish we had like different color.
2 and 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I plug in 2 into F prime, what do I get? When I plug in 2 into F prime,
1.
a positive, yep, positive 1. When I plug in 0 into F prime, I get,
0.
no, I don't. I
One.
get 1 again.
One.
Positive.
Everything.
Oh, so this critical value, is it a relative extrema?
No.
It's not a relative extrema. Why is it not a relative extrema?
Because it didn't change sign.
Didn't change signs, yeah. So there's no minimum or maximum.
Okay. Goddamn, I'm gonna do everything.
Don't know what's going on over there, but I think we should probably not be Snapchatting.
Oh god.
Not a relative extrema. And we're done. It's increasing everywhere.
And then we don't have a minimum or maximum because it doesn't go from like.
Exactly, yeah. All right, that concludes the video. Say goodbye.